Hi guys, it's Amy and welcome back to my channel, Honestly Invisibly Sick. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Hidradenitis Suppurativa. But before we get into that, I just want to get my disclosure out of the way. I am not a medical professional. This is just my story and what works for me. Hidradenitis Suppurativa, also known as HS, and also known as acne inversa. I'm gonna call it HS because that makes it easier for me. But I do like the fact that they also call it acne inversa because it really helps explain the process a little bit better. When you have HS, what happens is your sweat glands become inflamed. And this normally happens where skin rubs skin, which is like underneath your underarms. Some people get it underneath their breasts. You can get it in the bend of your leg, kind of where your leg meets your hip area and the pelvic region. You can also get it underneath your bottom, and some people get it, for lack of a better word, in their butt crack. So juvenile. But HS is much like other chronic diseases. There's a wide variety of how bad you can have it. You can either have it like super, or it's super bad, where you have multiple all at once that come up in different areas, or you can have it where you get one at a time. Most of the time I get them one at a time. I usually just get these outbreaks underneath my right underarm. That's where it's more prevalent. But let's get into what HS actually is. It is an inflammatory disease. Also, it's also genetic, which means somebody in your family had to have this gene, and for whatever reason, the switch was flipped for it to activate in your body. Nobody really knows why that happens. That's also the same with lupus. Most people, and rheumatoid arthritis, most people carry the gene, but for whatever reason, the switch was flipped in your body. Something triggered it. Whenever I first got diagnosed with HS, first off, it wasn't pronounced Hidradenitis Suppurativa, it was Hidradenitis Suppurative, but now it's Suppurativa. And it was also said to be autoimmune disease. But now whenever I was doing research for this video, they're now saying that it's not an autoimmune disease, or at least that's not the way it was classified when I was doing my research. They were just saying it's a genetic inflammatory disorder. But I personally, and this is just my opinion, believe that it is an autoimmune disorder because before I started taking my Plaquenil, before I got diagnosed with lupus, and I got put on, I got put on methotrexate first, and the methotrexate caused a really big flare up of my Hidradenitis Suppurativa, and it was the worst I had ever had. And I think I had two of them back to back, but this one particular one was really bad. And I called the doctor, and she said, yes, you're having a reaction from being on the methotrexate. So then she switched me to Plaquenil. Once the Plaquenil got in my system, I think it took 2 months, my HS has been under control ever since. I think I've had 4 outbreaks since I've been on it. I've been on it for about 8 months, which is good for me because before I started the Plaquenil, I had an outbreak underneath my arm that would come up. It was right here in the bend of my arm. It would come up, it would heal within 3 or 4 days, and the next thing I know, it would start getting sore again, and it would start coming back up. But let's get into what it actually is. It's inflammation of the sweat gland. So the inflammation starts deep down in the sweat gland. And then much like a pimple, how it starts deep down in the pore, it comes up and forms a head, and then the head will pop. And when the head pops, it causes pus and all this nasty stuff to just drain out. It's mainly pus. It can be, sometimes you get water, sweat down in there. And I know before I started using spray deodorant, which I'll get into in a little bit, I also would get deodorant trapped down in there, which was really nasty when it came out. So, oh, and you can also get a little bit of blood will come out sometimes. And I just recently had a flare. That's why I wanted to do this video. I was going to save this video for the end, and I was like, because it's kind of, to me it was embarrassing, but I thought if it's embarrassing to me, it's got to be embarrassing to other people out there that have it, and we need to stop being ashamed of it, because it's nothing that you did. It's your genetics. It's being predisposed to getting it. And it's caused from inflammation. It's not because you're dirty. It's not because you don't shower like you need to. It's not because of any of those things. You did nothing wrong to get this disease. It just happens to come. It's not contagious. It cannot be passed around to anybody. It just is like a chronic disease in your body, much as how lupus is not contagious, rheumatoid arthritis is not contagious, this inflammatory disorder is not contagious. Albeit it may be a little bit gross to deal with, but it is what it is. I also want to give you guys some tips and tricks later on in the video of things that can kind of help you get it under control. Not heal it, but help you try to get it under control if you're not already doing them. But whenever the sweat gland deep down in there gets inflamed, this causes like a lot of pain in your underarm or your groin area or wherever it is that you have the outbreak. I know for me, whenever I get an outbreak underneath my underarm, I can't even lift my underarm like hardly at all, because it would be so painful. It's like pulls on stuff deep down in your underarm. Like, not, it hurts on the surface, but it's not as bad as what it hurts deep down in your sweat glands. It's very painful. I know for me, I have gotten where it looks like a boil. I've gotten it to where it's been the size of a golf ball, but I know of other people, or one other person that had it, and I saw theirs get as big as a baseball. So it just depends on how bad you have it. Also, when you continuously have these breakouts, it causes scar tissue, and it also causes tunnels to form where you continuously have the breakout. That's why they usually come up in the same spot, and then sometimes it'll go it'll move to several spots around, and wherever those spots are, there's tunnels up underneath the skin where they go from one to the next. And that's kind of a good symptom of it, that you have it, when you have these connecting scars from each breakout spot. Your scarring can be, some people can have minimal scarring. I know underneath this underarm, I just have like one scar, but underneath this underarm, underneath my right underarm, I have several. So it just depends on how bad you have it. Like I said, some people can have it where you have several open at a time, and some people can have where they just get one at a time. And sometimes you can just get one a year, and then you don't have to worry about it. And then there's some of us that, like, if I would put not on the Plaquenil, I would probably have outbreaks at least once or twice a month. Sometimes you have a low where you don't have them as much, but it's like with everything. I have times where my lupus is more active throughout the year, so HS follows the same pattern. But since I've been on the Plaquenil, I've only had like 4 outbreaks, and they really wasn't even that bad. It's just a small bump comes up, and then it heals. It doesn't mean it's any less sore. It doesn't matter the size of the bump. It's still really sore down in your sweat gland, wherever it is that you have it. It's very painful, very, very painful. And if you go through it, I'm very sorry that you have to go through this. Now I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on ways just to help you get it under control, or try to get it under control. Not that mine was super under control using these, but it did make a difference, and any small difference helps. The first thing I want to tell you, and again, this is my opinion, I'm not a medical professional, this is just what worked for my body. If you are shaving in the area where you were getting these breakouts, sorry, I'm not crying, my eyes leak. If this is your first video with me, go back, check out my eye conditions video, it'll explain everything. But let's move on. If you are shaving these areas, I highly recommend that if you can, don't shave it. If you have to, if you're using a disposable razor, use it once, throw it away. If you can, shave down, or shave with the hair, not against the hair. That'll kind of cut down on how many breakouts you have, and it'll cut down the bacteria as well, because you're not shaving, you're not pushing the bacteria up into the hair follicle. Me personally, what I do for my underarms is I bought one of these. It's kind of like I think it does. People use it for their face, like for your peach fuzz. But I use it for my underarm. Does it get super close? No. And I'm not endorsing this product, by the way. This is just what I use. I have no affiliation with this product. It's called Finishing Touch. And it's just a razor. And you can turn it on. You can also angle it to help you get up underneath your underarm. And it has light. And it takes the battery. I think it's a AAA. And these things are only like $10 from Walmart. I'm not sure how much it would be if you got it from CVS or something like that. But I know Walmart has it. I've seen it in there several times, and that's where I bought mine from. But this, as I said, it just cuts right to the skin. Like, you can still see, if you were to get right up close, you'd be able to see just the specks where the hair is, but there's no hair sticking out. But this works for me, and it's really easy to clean. You can just pop this part will pop off. You can get down in there and take it apart and clean this right here. So you can take it apart, and it doesn't cost that much, so you can replace it as needed. I have an A on there for my arm. But I really, sorry, excuse me. I really like this product. It's made a difference. I don't have, every time I used to shave using a regular razor, I would have a breakout. So using this, I did this before even I started the Plaquenil, and this significantly cut down on how many breakouts I was having in a month. My next tip is deodorant. If you're still using a roll-on deodorant, you have HS, I don't recommend that you use it. I don't use it anymore. First off, it holds bacteria in the actual deodorant itself. So every time you put it on, you're rolling that bacteria right back on your underarm. And it's not good to use it when you're having a breakout, and then you're going to use it when you're not having a breakout. So what I use is, and again, I'm not affiliated with this company, it's just what I use. I use Degree. It's called Dry Spray and Motion Sense. This is Pure Clean, but they just come out with a new scent that will be in my favorites video for September, which I really like. But this keeps the bacteria down. You don't have to worry about it. You just spray your deodorant underneath your underarm, and it really takes care of you. It says it's like a 40-hour antiperspirant. It lasts for a long time. I'm not going to say that it lasts 48 hours, but it lasts me all day. And it also covers up, if you have HS, you know, sometimes before you get a flare-up, you get you get a certain smell underneath your underarm, or I normally get it underneath my underarm, and it's only whenever it's really bad. I don't get it all the time. But if I'm going to have a really bad flare, sometimes you'll get a little bit of a smell that it's coming, and this covers that up. So I highly recommend that. I also recommend that you look at your body wash, what you use. I don't use body wash. I use the same as like what I use for my eyes. Of course, it's not the same bar, but I use, or the same kind, but I use an antibacterial. I think I use Dial with cocoa butter. I use that for my entire body because it's antibacterial, and I really like it, and I like the smell of it. But again, I'm not affiliated with any of these products. It's just what I use for myself and what works for me. And I make sure that if I do wash, I don't use like a loofah or something like that, especially something that you're going to use more than once, because I don't know of anybody who uses a loofah and throws it away. That's not good to keep using it, especially for your underarms, because you're trying to cut down on the bacteria that's underneath your underarms. So you want to make sure that you're using, I use a rag, I use a clean rag every time. And I sometimes, if I'm having a breakup, or breakout underneath my underarm, sorry for that, then I will just use that rag for that underarm only, and then I get another rag to use separate for the rest of my body, because I don't want to spread that bacteria around. But that's just what works for me. You do what works for you. I'm also going to be having a September favorites. I know this video is going to come out after when October. It's already in October, but my video will be coming out the following Monday for the September favorites. I will probably have, like I said, that other deodorant in there, and I'll have this this razor will be featured there again. I may put a list down below and tell you exactly what it's called. I know you can get it at Walmart. I'll see if I can link it. I don't know if I can link it, but I'll see if I can do that. I also wanted to tell you that HS leaves behind this really bad scarring. So if you're not going to shave and you decide to wax, I have really wanted to try this, and I actually spoke to somebody who does waxing professionally, and when you have scar tissue, sometimes it can make it bleed if the skin's real thin in certain areas. So that's why I haven't tried it, because I know where I have my scar tissue underneath my underarms, that it's real thin, so I'd be really afraid of it ripping. If you do decide to wax, just hold it really, really, really taut so that it's not pulling at your skin. But that's all I can recommend. If you have any comments down below, or if you have something that works for you, just leave a comment down below. Also, I'm gonna link. There's a lady. I believe she's a dermatologist. She has HS, and she came up with a DIY system to take the scars away. So I'm gonna see if I can link that video down below if I can find it. If I can't, then I don't know. I'll have to try later. But I want to try her. I want to try her system and see if it works, because I would really like to get rid of my scars. I may show you guys whenever I do it. I'm not sure. I'm still going back and forth on that, because we're self-conscious about our scars. So I'll see. I probably won't. I'll probably try it and then let you guys know if it works, so that you can try it, or you can try it with me if I can link the video down below. Once again, don't forget to subscribe and like this video and share it with your friends, especially if you know that they have Hidradenitis Suppurativa. And I also want to encourage you to go check out my Facebook at invisiblysick.com. If you need any support, if you're going through something or dealing with this disease on your own and you don't have any support, you don't have a support system around you, leave a message. I will gladly support you. If you need prayer, I'll pray for you. Whatever it is, just leave a comment down below. All right, thank you guys so much, and have a blessed day. Bye.